There we go. Okay, there we are. I think we're live.
I think we are. Hey, it's Rich from Bacon Ice Cream Productions. I always feel like I want to eat something when I hear his name. Retro Bro. Listen.
Retro Bro, do you even Saturday afternoon podcast,
Retro Bro is the man. He is the boss. When the Care Bear thing. Oh my God.
Hold on. I got to back up.
Yes. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
And Brother Dreadpool's in the house. Hey, Dread.
Dreadpool's got some beers. Jeff Rule was the first one in the chat.
It was Brother Jeff. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's enjoying their Saturday before the big East Coast storm, if you're on the East Coast.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so sick of snow, you don't even understand.
We don't get any here.
The thing is, everywhere is plowed and everywhere is clear except for our driveway and then like a small bit of the road because for some reason the township doesn't think that they own the road that, they own. So we have to put our car in four-wheel drive to get out of our development, and then we have to click it off because it's a gas guzzler if you don't, and then you have to click it back on. It's like, what?
Yeah,
crazy.
It keeps trying. Well, we got like 2 inches of snow in the backyard, but the front of the house, like the road at our driveway, nothing. My son has gotten out of shoveling like 3 times now.
2 inches is like. It's like you blink for us. We have 1.5 feet, Mike. Plus, we got another couple inches. We almost have 2 feet of snow. We got a couple inches after the first big storm, and we're getting more. So it's just crazy.
That's crazy.
But I love the fact that Mike usually this Mike here.
I'm over. You're over. Wait a minute. You're
over here. Yeah, he usually cooks when he's doing stuff, but look.
Bro's cooking today.
Bro's cooking. I love that. You got to do some multitasking in your life, especially on the weekend.
Chef Bro.
You got to get all the stuff you need to get done on the weekend.
Now I want to know
where Redpool's working on his recording. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's doing his Breaking Bread with Dread.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's a good show. One day I'm going to be on that.
Awesome shows.
There are. We were you and Pete were talking about that last night. There are so many good channels out there, and
yeah, you know why I was talking about that is because you brought it up. Very rarely do I stay up for your whole 9-hour stint that you do on Thursdays. It like ends at like 12 midnight in Antarctica or something. I don't know, but the last 2 times I heard you, and it's like you rattle off a week's worth until you get back to the next Thursday. I love that about you. You're like, you remember them off the top of your head. I'm like, man, there's like 2 or 3 a day. It's awesome. And
well,
then with
we're trying
streaming and Mav streaming, that gets me covered for the week.
Yeah. Well, with this, with all that we're doing with the Gamers United Guild, man, we've got stuff basically every day. Every day of the week now, there's something that you can listen to. Something
it's like a blanket; it's got you covered.
Yup.
Boom.
My problem is that it seems that I'm having to double dip a little bit on some, so I have to do some double listening. That's not easy.
I've noticed that because
that's not easy.
When ours was done, they had their Friday night, but then Retro Bro. And I actually forgot about what happened after ours. So I was just typing away. And then I got an alert that Retro Bro with his Care Bear stare. And then I was like, oh, crap. Mav and the gang are having their Xbox One. I was like, oh, man. So I couldn't go. So I just like, listen, Care Bears outweigh Xbox every time. I just had to stay with Red. I'm sorry, I did. I had to. I had tears in my eyes.
It
I was
was
laughing so hard.
epic. I cannot
just kept
lie. It
asking
was
him to
epic.
replay that.
It was epic. The intro, if it is still up on his channel, if the YouTube gods have not come and destroyed him yet, you've got to go watch. You got to go over to Retro Bros
That was
channel.
legendary.
Just
Legendary.
I think if you search the Retro Bro, you'll find him. I'm telling you, that intro was solid gold.
Dancing. If he just showed up in a costume, haha, that's funny. He committed. If you're gonna do something, you got to commit to the role. It was hilarious.
And then
I wanted to mention something. Yeah.
And then played Care Bears on the entire time.
For an hour and a half, he didn't even realize that he was streaming for 90 minutes playing a Care Bears game in a Care Bear costume. That's how much fun he was having.
Yeah.
Born Distracted is going to go out and buy a new controller. I was thinking about buying a new controller because I don't know if anybody listened. I know, Mike, you listened, but yesterday I was kind of complaining how some of the Xbox games on Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate, they have the controls set up for a Xbox controller. And the 8-bit duos have their button layout for a Nintendo. So the B and A and X and Y are swapped. And it is so hard. My brain cannot fathom that. It's not instinctive. And I came from PlayStation, so I'm used to the X is the crossbar and the triangle and square and circle. So A, B, X, Y is totally confusing to me. And then to have it all switched on me, So I was going to buy a new Xbox controller, but they didn't have any at Best Buy. Crazy, right? And then my kids convinced me just not to get one. They're like, you already have that, and you have a 360 controller. Just throw batteries in it and play.
Just throw batteries in it. There you go.
Because you know how they convinced me? They said the last time you bought an Xbox One controller, brand new, you just gave it to. They have a brother, Max. You just gave it to Max, the 10-year-old, anyway. So I was like, yeah, you're right. Anyway. Yeah, well, sometimes born distracted. Sometimes buying new controllers can be tough. Yep,
it can be, and because you've really gotta find one that you really like. That's what and we're gonna talk about that for today is the Razer Kishi. I went round and round and round about getting this thing. So
yeah,
did you not open yours yet?
No, it's open. I just keep it
okay.
Here. I keep it in here because I want it to be nice, And then I don't have a lot of chance to play with that, but I wanted to say DJC Game Studios. DJC's in the house. DJC. I love his energy and his when he's on podcasts or when he's on his channel. I love it. I can't believe him. He's amazing.
Yeah,
such a talented person.
His he did an interview with the Go Game Go guys.
Yeah,
and it was awesome. I felt bad too because I promoted that on our Twitter and then I fell asleep a half hour before, so I had to go back and listen.
Mav was streaming, so I dipped in and out of that one, but it was funny because people like Mav will be like, "Oh, look, they're on," so he'll put it on and he'll be streaming a game. So then I feel guilty. I'm like, Mav's on there and he's streaming, so I have to be on there. So I got them on my small phone, Mav on my big phone. I've got one headphone on one. Yeah. I've got the other headphone on Mav. It got really confusing, especially since he was playing Division and there's like chatter. Not human chatter. Like in the game, people are talking to Mav, and I'm like so confused. I'm like, is that DJC? Is that Go Game Go? Is that Mav? So finally, I was just like, forget it. I just have to stick with one.
Do they make that controller for the Switch also? No, not one that wraps around the Switch, because this will show you how this works. But they do. Like I was in Best Buy earlier, and I saw some Switch controllers that were actually pretty nice. So
here, let's just talk about controllers just as an intro thing. You know what else I wanted to get? There are Switch controllers that look and feel like a GameCube controller. They're wireless. They're not GameCube controllers.
Really?
Because there are GameCube controllers that are wired, that are the old ones, but these are newer ones, and they're wireless. They're kind of smaller than the Wavebird, right? Smaller than the Wavebird, but they still have a lot of heft to them. And I only have a Switch Lite, but I do have the Mario 3D collection, and I'd like to play this. I have a little stand. I'd like to put it on the stand, and I want to play it with the actual controller that a GameCube-like controller. But then I'm thinking, will I ever play it with my PC? Because it's an odd controller with that big circular button in the center, and then it's curved. So, I mean, what do you think? Is it worth $50 for that kind of controller?
I think if it's comfortable to you, yes. If it's, I'm not one to judge. Like people love the Elite controllers, right? And they're $150. I can't bring myself to pay that for a controller, but I can't deprive that of other people. So if a GameCube controller for 50 or $60 is what you want in order to make your Switch experience that much better, it's not for me to say no.
Yeah. Well, I just, in my mind, I'm thinking if I had a Switch, an actual Switch, it'd be a no-brainer, because I'd have a big screen and I could have a controller.
And you could have, right.
But it's got the controller with it.
See, that's just it. That's the rub on the Switch Lite, is that you can't take the sides off. There's, and so you've got a built-in controller. Is it worth putting it on the stand to sit back to play? That would be the only thing that I would ask.
Yeah, it's a small screen. Is it worth it? Let me look up that controller. Because Born Distracted wants that to know who does it. It's a known company. They do have other controllers. I just don't, off the top of my head, know them. Is this Power A? Power A makes the controller, Born Distracted. It's like $49.99. You probably could get it for less if you go to Amazon. I was just at the store, GameStop, and they had it there, and I was so tempted. But my kids had already shot down my other idea for a controller. So I was like, And the funny thing is, I bet you I can pair up my 8-bit Duo to my Switch, but it's already paired up to my PC, and I don't want to keep switching back and forth. I want a dedicated controller for each system. I already have a dedicated controller for all of my systems. So why have to switch them? I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
No, that's a good point. That's part of it is part of the issue. Is what again, you gotta think of something that fits what you're looking for. And that's not easy. It really isn't. It's not easy.
Hey, and Pong by Atari is here, and Retro Bro. Yeah,
we said hi to Retro Bro.
No, but he says something very important. He says he doesn't like the Switch Lite because it's not a Switch. No, Retro Bro, you're right. You know what it is? It's called the Vita 2. That's what it is. The Dreamcast 2 was called Xbox, the original Xbox. Listen, that's what it is.
That's what it is. No, you're right. That's what it is.
I love my Vita. I love it. I might be buried with it. I don't know. My kids don't like Vita. I love PSP. I love Vita, and they gave up on it. So you know what I said? I'm going to Nintendo. All the games that were on Vita that I wanted to switched over, right? But all the the second, third, fourth generation of those games all moved over to the Switch. All my dungeon crawling games, number 2, 3, like Mary Skelter 2 is on the Switch. I bought Mary Skelter twice. I bought the Japanese version for the Switch, and then when it came out in America, I bought it on the Switch, and also I have it. It's on Steam, so I got it on Steam.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
Well, that's okay.
Oh, Xbox controller for PC, 8-bit Duo for Switch. Jeff, you might have solved it for me. I have to think about it. Mike, you have an Xbox Series X.
I do indeed.
How is the controller? I was going to just buy one of those. They didn't have
Controller is actually really nice. It's very comfortable.
Who?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go.
All right. While you're saying that, I'm on the Going Distracted says buying Switch controllers can be handy if Switch is having drift issues. You're right. I haven't had a drift issue yet. I'm not too concerned because it is a lesser system. It's $200 rather than $300. Of course, you could switch out if you could buy the bigger one. But if I have any issues, I'll just have it sent to Nintendo. I'm the only one hearing Ratchet and Clank. Jeff.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you are. Hold on. I'm doing a test. Sorry. So as you guys can see, we're a little differently laid out here because I want us to kind of stand out a little bit from our regular NLG show. So I'm doing a little bit of, and I shouldn't be, because that's not really what you're supposed to do when you're semi-professional. But I'm not professional.
I'm not professional.
So
hey, while you're playing around with that, I want to say, look, it's, what is it? Saturday the 13th, which is probably better than Friday. Well, actually, Friday is a good day. So I don't know why Friday the 13th came up as a bad day. It should be Monday the 13th.
Right.
But look, I got You'll Float 2 and I got You'll Float 2, So.
Nice.
I don't know. I just put it on because it was the 13th.
So, well, what I'm doing is I'd like to still show video and stuff, but I was like, I moved us up here to the middle, and I'm gonna keep tweaking it a little bit. But then I'm like, well, what if I want to show a video? What if we want to talk? We show the videos where we're talking about. So I didn't think it through as well as I thought I could. So I
never think anything through, and you know what? That makes a better planner than somebody that overthinks.
This is true. But I
believe everything I read, and that makes me a more selective person than somebody that doesn't read anything.
That's an interesting point, Mike.
That's a quote from Spinal Tap.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody's saying I should get the red one. Honestly, everyone's all GTO red, red this, red that.
I love red.
Don't like red as a color.
I love red. I
don't like red as a color.
Really?
Maybe I'm not masculine enough. I don't know. I like light blues. I like purple. That's a good color. I do not like, and there's Ratchet and Clank down there.
There's Ratchet and Clank. Just I don't mind that. I'm just testing. Focus on Mr. Garvey.
Okay, well, I'm going to be distracted. Does anyone else, when they first saw the cover of Ratchet and Clank, that was the first time I noticed that the female Lombax has a mechanical arm? And then when I saw the trailer from 6 months ago, I'm like, it was in the trailer, Mike. Why didn't you notice that? I didn't notice it. It just went out of my head.
Huh.
She's got a mechanical arm.
I didn't think of that either.
That's weird. It's weird the things that you hook up on. I hooked up on her face and the fact that she had something in her hand, but I didn't look at her other hand or whatever. And then when they said, oh, you get new skins or whatever if you pre-order, I'm like, is that the same Ratchet and Clank? Because their bodies look the exact same. I'm like, wait, one has a mechanical arm. Is that the female? I'm like, they should look different, right?
I would think so.
Skins. Yeah. But they cover their faces so they look the same. I'm like, oh, that's a cheap way of telling you got two skins and it's only one, I thought Born Distracted was gonna say, oh wait, I thought I was distracted. Yeah, you are Born Distracted. What? Oh, okay.
By the way, I want to say a couple of quick things. I saw a couple people in the chat. I just wanted to point out. Number one, it's been an age since we've seen Pong by Atari. I just want to say hi. Tell them thanks for popping in. We do miss you. We know you're busy, so anytime you're able to pop in here is awesome. Yes. And gaming differently by Cerebal Prawl. He put he did a tweet. He did a kind of a not a rage tweet, but just a kind of a semi PSA. I've had a chance to see Paul a couple times on Midweek Gaming on Stubz, and he does not hide the fact that as he's a gamer but has cerebral palsy, and somebody pointed out he mentioned that he had trouble with one of the games he was playing, and someone kind of mocked him because there's journalists out there who legitimately get mocked because they can't play games, but they didn't know that the reason that he was having trouble, and his tweet thread, which I thought was not only poignant, but I retweeted it, was you shouldn't make those assumptions. You can't. You can't judge people by what just what you don't know. And so I just thought it was a very I thought it was a really powerful tweet thread, and I hopefully people will see it, because I do think it's important.
It is important. It is important to call people out when they act that way. While you were saying that, it triggered something. Right? If the internet is the Wild West, everybody is a little bit too quick on the draw. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to bang, 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 shoot somebody down. But you know what? We're not in the Wild West. We don't have to hurl insults at everybody. I remember when I was at school, people would speak before they thought, and I would just, if somebody was teaching us, I would just be quiet, because whatever they said in a sentence, they might answer your question in 2 sentences. Now, when they stop and ask you, are there any questions? That's when you ask the questions. But don't stop them in midstream, because you're not hearing them then. And the same thing with what you said. They didn't even really understand where he was coming from, because they didn't watch his stuff and learn that he has cerebral palsy. Now, listen, the joke is, like you said, journalists don't, they review something and they don't play the whole thing. But the point is, they're journalists, and that's why I don't like them, because that's what they went to school for, or that's where they got hired for, is being a journalist, not a gamer. That's why I don't go to their websites. If you want to know something, you go to somebody that's a gamer. If you want to know something about, like if I wanted to know something about a first-person shooter, I'd go to somebody like Mav, because he does first-person shooters.
Right.
If I wanted to know something about JRPGs, there's this girl that does, she's called JRPG Jungle. She is really into what she does. So you go to somebody that, you don't have to necessarily be an expert, but you have to have a passion for what you're into. That's where I go. So, yeah.
Yes, I was a journalist, and
and that's why you suck at games. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Zing!
Touche, sir. Touche.
Hello.
Oh my goodness! All right, here we go. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. So now we can show some video, and have some fun.
Yes, if you are the PlayStation podcast, this is a Sony channel only.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with Ratchet and Clank.
I'm just kidding. I love Ratchet and Clank.
There isn't. I'm looking forward to this game, to be quite perfectly honest. This will be when I get my PS5. So.
I told you when I'm getting my PS5, I will get it when this is $20 and the PS6 is already out on shelves. That's how I got the PS3 is when the PS4 was already on shelves.
Jeff says I need to move us up a little bit. I could do that.
And then he says, did Garvey say he did not like Mike? Listen, it's already plain to everybody. If they see chat in the NLG, how much I like Mike.
Wow. Enough that I keep having him on here. Zing. All right, hold on. What did I just make? I'm moving you. Maybe I need to move you off to the side. Is what I need to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just move the Ratchet and Clank in front of me so you can't see me.
Yeah.
They are very fun.
It's the M squared show. Thank you for
singular, the singularity, right?
There we go. So anyway,
that up.
There we go. All right. So I've moved us up a little bit.
And I moved Ratchet up a little bit.
So Pong says one of the main reasons I always loved the NLG channel is a very friendly group with a friendly place to hang out. It is. We try.
It is. Welcoming. It's very welcoming.
No, and I think
that's why I feel bad when I troll, because I get on these. I don't know what happens in my brain, but I get on these negative rants. And I want to stop myself.
Well, if we have time, and we got to start getting to our topics and stuff. But if we have time, if not, it's going to be next month. I do want to dig into this.
Okay, standouts first, and then
I want to dig into some of this stuff. All right, so let's get to our stuff. By the way, you wanted to know about the controller, the Xbox. Yes. So this is the Xbox One X controller. All right, so this is, and then this is the new Xbox Series X controller. So a couple of different things that you can see right off the bat is, there we go. The D-pad is different. So the D-pad's a little more. I think so. The D-pad's a little more.
Compared to a Nintendo product or a Sony product, how good is it?
The D-pad's definitely better to me than the DualShock, but I can't say I like the D-pad on the Nintendo controllers too.
Okay. So Jeff says I'm very passionate.
I'll make the video bigger in just a moment. Right, USB-C is another thing. That's USB-C controller. The buttons are actually really nice and colored rather than just the kind of the inlaid. So you could really see a difference in the ABXY.
Yes, I see that, and I noticed that if you get certain colors, they don't put the color of the buttons. They have it off the side, and I don't like that because I need it to be right near where I am.
The triggers have sort of a texture on them now, so you don't slip off of them too much. And then, of course, the share button in the middle, which is a whole different new thing.
I don't care about that, but is it smaller?
No, it is. Not really. No, it's about the same size.
I've always found that Xbox controllers were a little bit bigger than what I'd need them to be for my small hands. We all know what happens. Small hands make a big heart. That's what
they say, isn't it?
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
But I do have small hands. I'll admit it. But I don't know. And that's why I gave my Xbox One controller, because I just couldn't get used to it. I gave it away to somebody who actually plays on an Xbox and likes it. And their controller broke. And they're my son's brother, Max.
All right, let's try this.
So my ex-wife's youngest. And I said, hey, why don't I give it to him? He always appreciates when I give him stuff. He calls me Uncle Mike, which is
that's very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah, it's funny. So hey, Uncle Mike has to give him some video game stuff. I just give him stuff that he might use and I won't. So I don't know. Is it more enough change for me to want it? I don't know. Yeah, I wonder if you can shoot into the rifts like Portal. I don't know. I still don't quite understand the mechanic.
It's going between worlds,
between two areas.
Yes, it's like going between levels. He's going between levels is the way I've got it.
They should have showed the areas that were different. Like one should have been winter and one should have been spring. You see what I'm saying? Because it looks the same stage, but I understand it's a different mezzanine or whatever. But
okay, there we go.
A little odd.
All right, I think that works for us.
I don't think you can shoot in between the rifts. I just think that they're like they're a static image until you press and then it warps you into it. I think that's the trick. But the loading is so fast. That's why they're able to do it.
It's because if you notice, he's spinning. Let me go back to it. When he gets into that rift, hold on. When he walks into it, at that end part, watch, he starts to spin around, and I don't think you can shoot while you're spinning.
Yeah.
See, look, he's like.
Said this is the same stage. Yeah, Jeff, I know it's the same stage, but I think that it was like a plaza where it had the topiary tree on the right, or whatever, the right, and then when he warped to the other plaza, it had the topiary tree on the left. So it's two different plazas, I think. If it's not, then what's the point of? I don't know. I didn't understand it. I understand that it's a gimmicky kind of thing. Or Ratchet and Clank always do gimmicky things, and I don't mind it because it's a cartoony kind of game. I like it. They tried something like this in the last one that was like a very mini version of the game. I forget what it was called. Do you remember what it was, Mike?
No, I don't.
It might have been a digital only. I'm not sure. But I never played it, and Into the Nexus, that's what it was called.
Right.
I never played it because I was like, I'm not paying full price for half of a game, so.
Yeah. All right, standouts. I didn't realize it's already 3:23. We started early and we're still running late.
All right, standouts. Taxi Chaos. It's a new generation of Crazy Taxi.
Taxi Chaos?
Yeah, maybe it's called Chaos Taxi. It's coming out February 23rd.
Oh, yeah.
10 days. You got 10 days. I've seen people who got an early copy. It looks so fun. You can jump. It's an arcade taxi game. I wonder where they got that from. It's Crazy Taxi. It's a spiritual successor. Remember, Tommy didn't know what a spiritual successor was? It looks amazing.
Taxi Chaos. That's what it's actually called. Taxi Chaos.
Yeah, Taxi Chaos. It's Taxi Cat. It's Crazy Taxi without the without
right
the,
because they can't pay for the licensing. Right. Without what was that? Offspring? Is that who that was?
Yeah, Offspring. Yeah.
I want to know how they get away with this game. Honestly, how does Sega? Sega must just not care. Sega must just said, yeah, we're not going to make another one. So
there was
go
a
ahead.
time about 5 years ago that Sega was knocking down everybody off of the internet for streaming their games, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, this is actually good for us." So they kind of, I don't even say they gave up or didn't care. They just kind of maybe they understand that maybe this is actually a good thing for Crazy Taxi because it makes me want a new Crazy Taxi game. It's not a huge endeavor. So
I get it, but you would think that if well, but then again, companies these days, I don't know if it's me, but companies these days don't seem to care about what we want. They just put out what they think we want. And then
But they've been doing that for years, Mike. They thought that we all wanted drab, brown levels of first-person violent games.
Yeah.
Square thought we all wanted action RPGs. Little did they know we all wanted, turn-based combat to come back. So,
but I mean, there are games that kind of look like, and then there's ripoffs. This is a ripoff. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying this is a blatant.
He can jump.
It is a blatant 100%.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to turn up the sound real quick for the people listening because I can't hear it either. Hang on. Because
No.
yeah, exactly. That's the only thing that is missing is the yeah.
I don't care if it's a ripoff. I do not care. I don't care. Ukulele was a ripoff of Banjo-Kazooie. I don't care. I don't care that Ukulele 2 was a ripoff of Donkey Kong Country. I don't care. I want more of those games, and if they have to rip them off to make them, then let's make them.
Right.
If they don't get sued, it's not my problem. If they put it up on a store and I buy it, it's not my problem.
No, but games like that are a dime a dozen. I mean, they're 3D action platform games. What this is Crazy Taxi with a different name, and it still even has taxi in the name.
It didn't even say Insane Taxi. They're like, we need a name that means crazy but also has a C in it. Let's just call it Chaos.
Right. Well, and instead of Chaos Taxi, Crazy Taxi, it's Taxi Chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
and it's not New York, but it looks like New York. That's what I love about this.
Right.
It's so blatantly ripping it off. It's like it's shameless rip-off.
It is totally shameless. It's not even. I mean,
you know what it reminds me of, Mike? It reminds me of those movies that are trying to be funny, but they literally take the plots of like a horror movie and make fun of it, but it's literally the same movie. You know those movies like Scary Movie? It's like it's like that's how easy it is. You just took the real plot of a movie and then you just made jokes around it. How is that legal? They say it's a parody. I'm like, but you could make a different plot, right? It's literally the same plot.
So this is this is right now.
Omiko couldn't do this. What
right now,
this is high power.
Right now, this is Nintendo Switch and Xbox One with PS4 coming soon, and also for PS5 coming soon.
I'm a Nintendo Switch. I was gonna buy it. The thing about Nintendo Switch I don't like is if you buy something that's more than a week in advance, they won't charge you until the week. I don't like that. It's like if I buy something pre-order, I want it to take out of my checking account the day I purchase it. I don't care if I have to wait to download it. I just don't want to have to, in my mind, think, well, why is this charge coming off my account 10 days later? It's like, do it the day I did.
Do you even taxi chaos, bro?
I was going to buy this. I was going to play it before, and I was so disappointed that it didn't come out yet because I've seen so many YouTubers play it.
Jeff, what's up, Gogamego? What's going on, man?
Jeff's here. Hi, Mike and Mike. Yep.
Jeff will be Jeff and Stu will be.
We melt in your mouth, not in your hands. Just saying.
We couldn't call ourselves MM in the early afternoon.
AM. MM in the AM.
MM in the AM.
Do you want to hear the story behind that? I said, Pete, I typed him and I said, let's have P and M in the PM.
I'm going to make that
and
a little bigger, by the way.
And he was just really quick and he wasn't paying attention to what I was saying to him. So he's just like PM in the PM. And like for the first 3 times when we did it, people were like, well, what does PM in the PM mean?
People ask me that all the time because I advertise it on our channel and they go, well, what's PM in the PM? I'm like, Pete and Mike in the PM.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be P and M, but he was like really.
I think that works better. Honestly, I think that works better.
I love it. I love it. It's great.
So anyway, Stu and Jeff are going to be on with us Thursday night. I'm looking forward to having them on the NLG show.
Awesome.
They're great people. They're just good people. You know what I love about this channel and Pete's channel and all the Gamers United Guild channels is we can come through and we just see good people like John and Bourne, DJC, Jeff Rule, Rich, they're just good people come to see us banter.
Yeah, I wanted to tell Pete last night when I was on with him, but we got distracted. I always get distracted, like Bourne distracted. I want to be a better person, a more positive person this year. And I think it's because of your channel, Mike, and Pete especially. When I listen to him, like, the dude isn't, he has hard times in his life, but he never lets that get him down. He's not a foolish person. People think that happy people are somehow foolish people. He's a very smart, we were talking for like a half an hour before we went on the air about all his stuff about his writing. He's got it all laid out, well thought out, but he brings the positive energy when he's on the air, and I want to do that more often.
He's one of the most positive people I know.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh.
He makes me feel ashamed to be alive.
Okay,
I'm just a slut.
all right. Let's not go too hard there. So, all right, my standout game. After getting through it and after really kind of digging into its story and digging into its I finished it and I was just
blown away.
I was blown away at the end, which happens to me sometimes when I'm playing games like Inside, games that really kind of swerve you at the end, and that is The Medium. The Medium,
oh,
yeah.
I got that. I thought it was going to be the Plague's Tale.
Well, Plague's Tale was really good too. What's up, Shondell? It's good to see you.
Oh, Shondell! I love Shondell.
Plague's Tale.
He's got a channel. Subscribe.
Does he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't
know that either. You got to subscribe.
I will be.
The Medium. Sorry.
All right. So, yes, Plague's Tale was a solid game. I really enjoyed it. There was some great element. I loved the story. The Medium, there was something about this game that grabbed me, and I'm not really a horror game guy, so I'm not like the Silent Hill. I played Resident Evil, but I'm not really, I got Code Veronica on the Dreamcast. I'm not really a big, like that kind of guy. But this game was not necessarily as scary as it was creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And as you move through the game, the way that Bloober Team writes a story and I'm going to throw this out there. It's not the game's not a looker. I mean, there's some great aspects of the game. There's some neat things. It's not a looker, but I will put the story up against anything that's written by a AAA studio. And there comes points in this game that I'm playing that things just snap into place and you go, "Oh, wow." Or that just happened, or I didn't see that coming. And those are the kind of games that hook me. If you could hook me with a story, then
do you think expectations hurt this game? Expectations?
Well, I don't think the game. So according to Bloober Team, they've made their money back, and everything they're selling from now on is profit. So I can't call this game a failure. I mean, from a commercial standpoint, the game's
I didn't
a success.
say it failed. I said it didn't hurt it.
Oh, did it hurt it? I don't think so. I think people understand. When you have normal gamers, normal adult-minded gamers, they understand where a game comes from. I was not expecting. I didn't go into this expecting to see, something on the lines of The Last of Us. I didn't go in looking at this going, this is going to look as good as God of War, or as good as Halo Infinite, or as good as, I expected a solid game. I knew what I was getting because I played a little bit of Blair Witch. What I wasn't expecting was a solid story like this.
Did you play this on Game Pass?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't buy it. Yeah. I downloaded it because you said you started playing it and because you all talked about it last week and this week. So in between those 2 weeks, I downloaded it. I haven't played it because I was too busy playing the Falconeer thing that Pete wanted me to play. But I was so tempted to play. There's a game, I was looking it up just now when you're talking. It's called Gray Skies, A War of the Worlds story. And I think that this game is like that, only this game is AA, where that one's like single A. Like if AAA is Resident Evil 2 Remake, then I think that's what it is. You've got a female protagonist. They're walking around. They've got the same angles. The same kind of puzzle and creepy environment. But one's like a lot of money and attention's thrown to it. One's more indie developer. And one is like a total indie developer with not a lot of money through it. So if it's better than Gray Skies, then I'm going to be happy. So I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's going to be better than that. And that game is more of a walking simulator kind of thing, almost,
Well, you mentioned, I mean, I was a big fan of the War of the Worlds book, and to an extent, the older movies, of course, but I kind of dug the Tom Cruise adaptations. It was okay because it was neat that it focused on him and his family rather than the action per se. But that game is out on Switch. Is Gray Skies out on anything else but Switch?
PlayStation 2 is where I saw it, and then it just came out on Switch recently. Okay. It's been out for like a year, so everyone lampooned it, and it's like, you know what? If you don't understand the type of game that you're judging, then don't judge it critically. Like, I don't go see a comedy and expect it to have the acting chops of a drama. I don't go see a drama and expect to get laughs all the time. You have to know what type of game and who's making it. There's these games called Outbreak there's like 3 or 4 of them. They're very cheap games. They're like $5 on everything. Steam, Switch, PlayStation 4. Listen, they are old school Resident Evil tank controls, but they're made like to make a profit real quick. And if it's $5, you get what you pay for. Why is everyone so harsh on these kind of games? I think we need more of those kind of games. What's so wrong about it? If you don't want it, don't buy it. Only buy Resident Evil 2. But guess what? You're going to be waiting years for the next Resident Evil. So, Village, when's that coming out? That's not coming out this year, is it?
I don't know.
It's probably coming out next year. So you're going to be waiting. Might as well pick up for $15 3 really cheap, 3 to 5 hour experiences. So that's 15 hours. You're getting your money's worth. I don't know. That's my thought.
I got you.
Shondel's in your camp. He wants the Sega to come back with a hardware. So
Yeah.
Let's get to our main topic before we got 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, dude, I know. So we're gonna run over a little bit. I'm sorry, Pete.
This is gonna be part one.
Part one. Okay.
And then we'll do part two next time. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. So topic of the month. This was one that you and I had started to talk about kind of offline, and I thought this would be a really good topic to talk about, and that is emulation.
Yeah. Now, do you have? We all have thoughts on emulation.
We do.
But I broke it down to several topics so that if we chop them up, we can do it for next week as well. So I don't know where you wanted to start, but I could. What?
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the most controversial. Okay. Emulation is pirating. Let's just get it out of the way. It's a euphemism, like somebody passed away, they died, okay? They're dead. Now, you can explain yourself away, you can say you own it, that's fine. But what it is you're pirating a game. Now, I'm not against pirating a game. You do you. You do whatever you want. I'm just saying, in my mind, I know what it is, and I have trouble with it. Does it mean that I never do it? No. Does it mean I have problems with it? Yes. But if you sleep safely at night saying that you are preserving the game, or like somehow you're Indiana Jones, it belongs in a museum, you're archiving it, don't fool yourself. Because listen, if a game sold 10,000 copies and 100,000 people are playing that game, what you see what I'm saying? You didn't, no one, 90,000 of those people don't own the game, so they are pirating it. Now maybe you have the game and you can say, well, I have it, yada yada, it's within the law. But I'm not talking about law, I'm talking about moral. Morals are a higher thing than a law. So go on. What are your thoughts?
Okay. So I don't agree, because there's pirating. So people that pirate games don't pirate them to emulate them. They pirate them to obtain them. Emulation in and of itself is not illegal. It is not immoral to actually emulate something. To me,
playing a pirate game isn't illegal.
But you're assuming the piracy issue. So
no, I'm saying you and I go outside and we put a patch over our eyes and call ourselves a pirate isn't illegal in any place. Maybe Mother Russia. I don't know. but you're still a pirate. You're conflating two things, in my opinion. I think what you're doing is you're taking the act of stealing somebody's work and putting it in, well, that is what emulation is. And it's not what emulation is. Emulation in and of itself is the simple act of copying a device. But no. Making one thing look like another. Now, that's not to say taking this and owning it. Making this look like something else. Make something look like let's say an older system like an NES.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say for what if Nintendo started making NESs again? Aren't you copying an NES? That's a lost sale for that company. And you're talking about machines that you're copying. That's like analog and stuff like that. Those people that make the machine. I'm talking about games. Emulation of games is pirating of games. You're saying it's copy of game. Yeah, a copy of a game is stealing the game. Now you
no.
You might own the game.
Yes.
But why aren't you playing it on your system? You're like, well, I want to preserve it. Well, then why don't you buy 2 copies? You see, and
that's
one to
because
play,
I don't have to
save.
do that. When I buy a game, I own the rights to that game. I can play that game on my system. I could take it to your house. I could play it on your system. Why don't I need a second copy of the game to take it to play it on your system?
If you probably in the legal sense, in law, but there's a lot of places that have laws that are morally objectionable, but there's still the law of the land. But in legality, you might be right. But also, I don't technically think that all games are owned to you. If you talk about games nowadays, they have DMC or what is it? The like you don't own it. You just own the right to play it at a certain time. If EA systems go down, I can't play my Alice Madness Returns. I bought it, but I can't play it because if their system isn't up, then it doesn't do their check, and then I can't play it. So I know that seems wrong, but in their mind, they're like, well, that's what you signed off for. There's a whole page of stuff that nobody reads, and we all agree to it, and we say, hey.
Yeah, sure, no. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the game system part first.
Yeah.
There's a reason that there are Retrons and Evercades, and I mean, by your standard, the Evercade is illegal. The Evercade is pirating, by your standard, because the Evercade is emulating Sega Genesis, Nintendo Entertainment System, SNES, TurboGrafx. So by your definition, an Evercade is pirating, right? Now, the reason that it's not.
Well, let's get off the hardware part because the hardware is a little bit more. But
sure.
I want to get to what Jeff is saying. Jeff is saying by definition, if you can emulate a person by trying to act like a person. That's not quite true. But if you watch the Futurama episode, they actually duplicate, because it's future and it's a cartoon thing. They duplicate what looks to be Lucy Liu. And she sues them because she's still alive somehow in the year 3000. She says, you are copying my likeness so you can go on a date with it. But you should try to be going on a date with a real person. The issue came up because back when they did that episode, there was something called Napster. Napster was copying music. Now,
right.
They did get sued by Metallica, and they had to actually close down. Nowadays, because of the influence of things like iPhones and the iStore, where you could just $1 a game, they limited the amount of pirating of music because it's so simple. And I understand, like, there's Steam and stuff like that. And I understand, Mike, there's a lot of games out there that aren't available to the public. All right? But there's no doubt that if you own the game and you think that's okay, I want to tell you one word: MAME. MAME has over 10,000 arcade games. You can't tell me, Mike, that you own physical copies of an arcade in your system. You don't own hundreds of arcades in your house. These were designed as quarter munchers. They've been downloaded into a digital format, and they put it on something called MAME, and everybody that uses it says, well, we're preserving this and that, or I own the game. You don't own the arcade. There's not millions of arcades out there. There's thousands of them. Most of them don't work. Fine. Yeah, it's preservation. But it is stealing that game. That's my thought. You could be.
That's fine.
That.
So and the reason that the emulators themselves are legal is because there's no proprietary code in there that's being stolen from, again, because it's being emulated. So there's no proprietary code being stolen in the emulator itself. Now, I will concede to you the main piece because, other than the fact that people don't, you can't, some of that stuff becomes what they call abandonware. Which
yes,
gets
there's
its
actually
own...
a website that's called Abandonware.
Oh, there's a few of them. There's a few of them where you can download old games that you can't get anymore, that you can't even buy anymore.
Yeah. Mike, I'm not saying that anyone in the chat or you or even me, because I'm guilty of doing this as well. I'm not saying, like, you do you. I'm not saying that I judge you in any way.
I know you're not.
I will tell you a funny story. American McGee had to pirate his own game. It's called American McGee Alice, because there's no legal way that he can buy his own game. EA does not know how to put it back up on their store without the DRM stuff. And so he had to go to one of those abandonware sites to pirate his own game so he could play it while streaming with his Patreon people. That's how crazy it is. But he still was pirating it.
So when because I want to get back to a couple of things, because I agree with you on some of this, I really do. But there are some lines in which I think that you can't pirate your own stuff. And I'll ask you, did you ever,
Michael?
Did you ever own it?
He worked for EA, and everything he created at EA is owned by EA. He admits that himself.
I understand that.
Own it.
So you
can pirate your own stuff.
Did you ever? So you never took a CD that you bought from the store with Microsoft Windows, which had a rip function in it. You never ripped your music to your hard drive.
First of all, Michael, I'm 40 years old, so we didn't burn CDs back in our day. We burned books.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. Maybe you did.
No, but did
you take a CD? Hold on,
no,
did you
take I did that with cassettes. Yes, of course.
Okay, so you made cassettes. So you pirated music off the radio.
I did. I admit it. I'm a pirate.
Okay.
What do you want
You're
from me?
A pirate.
I did it. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm without blame or without blame. When we listen, there used to be places like Babbage's and all these computer stores. You could rent computer games. Think how odd this was. You rented a floppy disk, you downloaded it to your PC, you returned it, or maybe you bought it and returned it the next day and said, I don't like it. It's still on your...
unless you created unless you went and meticulously created the little code wheel or, copied the entire book.
No. You ever hear of Norton Utilities? You go in there and you can change the
DRM.
password.
I know, DRM. But Norton, you've got to be able to know that stuff.
We didn't know anything. Listen, it was all in code, and you just look for the English words, and you change them all to AAA. And then the whole thing works.
But nobody was doing that back then.
We were doing it. We were pirates before there were pirates.
You were smarter than me. But in the United States,
pirate, at least admit it.
In the United States, ripping your own stuff, ripping your own ROMs, is completely legal. There's nobody that will arrest you for that. Now, downloading them from a website or sharing them with other people, like, it's one thing for me to bring a game over to your house and put it in your machine and play it.
Okay.
It's another for me to rip the game down to an ISO and send it to you and say, here, Mike, here's a free copy of the game. That's where Mike, I think you have a point.
Because Jeff is saying that I'm generalizing, but here's what I want to say about your thing. Mike, you own a game called Skies of Arcadia, yes?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I own the game of Skies of Arcadia.
Mm-hmm.
You rip it and play it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to rip it. I ask you for the ISO of it. You send it to me. Is that... You just said you sending it to me is illegal.
You own your copy of it, right?
Yeah.
Then no,
so
it's not.
Why is it's not
illegal.
Why is it me going to the website
if you don't
I own the copy?
That's
you didn't say that.
That's
you just said going to the website and downloading it is illegal.
It is if you don't own the disc.
But you didn't say if you didn't own
the
disc.
So I'm making the assumption that you understand that you don't own the game you're getting. So like if your MAME, except for the ones, so I will say that there are some. There's a lot of the arcade games out of MAME that have been commercially released by the developer and publisher. Like believe it or not, most stuff by Midway, even though Midway's stuff is owned by WB, there's a ton of Midway stuff that isn't NBA Jam and stuff like that. That's actually commercially available, like public domain. But if I take that Skies, let's say I can't get, and I'll give you a great example of why my Xbox One is a RetroArch machine and why my phone is an emulator. Because I own Skies of Arcadia. I don't want to pack my Dreamcast every time I go on vacation. So I can put Skies of Arcadia on here. I own it.
Great with that. That's wonderful. But Mike, Mike,
you said that was pirating.
And
hold on, I'm losing you. See, the pirates are coming to get you.
Let me just but
hang on, you're breaking up.
I want to add something to it. What?
You're breaking up a little bit. Your internet was breaking up a little bit. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yours we like the most, and I won't say his name, but he's from Canada. I've seen him play games that he does not own. Everyone does that. So it's a slippery slope, and you all say it's okay, but then you do the other side, you're breaking your own rule.
Hold on,
there's a rule.
Whoa!
So,
you asked me a question.
Yes.
Every single thing I have on here is stuff I ripped that I own.
In your possession, in your house.
Yep.
If we rated you today, single thing.
If you rated me today, everything I have is either owned or commercially open. I don't do a lot of MAME because I learned very early on that stuff was not really totally compatible, but I really wanted to emulate because I don't have a current version Genesis.
Yeah.
I don't have a current version Sega CD. I don't have and in fact, my Saturn and my Dreamcast, I play on real hardware. The only time, and I can't even play like Saturn games, I don't have a good emulator for anyway. Dreamcast games, my library, which is over there, are games that I have on here and only on here so that I could travel with them. But otherwise, when I play my Dreamcast and my Saturn, my Xbox, all that stuff's done on real hardware. My Genesis, my 32X, my Sega CDs are done on emulation because even though I've got, I think somewhere over here in the back, I got a 32X. It's the only working thing that I've got from my old Genesis stuff. So I'm not going to go out and buy a Genesis when I own the game, I can emulate it. So
but Genesis, the beginning, you should own the beginning. Now listen, I understand what you're saying. We only have a few more minutes.
I know.
I personally own 2 Dreamcasts. They somehow don't work with my new, even though I have 2 different converters for it to go to HDMI.
Which ones do you have?
I own this game. What?
Which 2 do you have?
Which 2 do I have? They're in a. Why do you ask me these things? What?
Because inquiring minds want to know. I want to help you. I know you have a love-hate. I love you. I know you have a love-hate relationship with the Sega Dreamcast. I want to help you.
I love it. I think it's one of the greatest of all time. What am I looking for?
Whatever HDMI cable that you have.
Oh, the system itself. Listen, I don't know. We can talk about that offline. I have 2 of them. I have 2 HDMI cable converters. I can also put it into the RF, whatever.
TJC
the red, yellow.
says this is fantastic.
I do own this. Now.
I do. I own it too, by the way. Awesome game.
I have it downloaded on here to emulate it.
Pirate!
Yes! Yes!
Yar!
Yes. The difference between you and me is I admit that I'm a pirate. I'm not saying that you're doing wrong compared to me. I'm just saying at least I admit what I am. Come on, I'm a pirate. Why is it when somebody defines something, everyone thinks they're accusing? I'm not accusing you. I just think it's hilarious.
I just think it's hilarious because I honestly don't believe you pirated your own game. I don't.
I
do. What you did by the definition of the law is 100% perfectly legal.
I'm not talking about the law. I'm talking about a higher law, but we're not allowed to talk about the higher law because everybody on chat will crucify.
My yarmulke is still on. I am not on fire. So I'm good.
Next week we'll be talking about games that never came out. Next month we'll be talking about games that never came out because we'll be talking about hacks. Okay, this is a hack of a Pokemon game that made all the Pokemon into anime girls. And then we'll also be talking about, is it okay for games that never came out in America to get the English patch? Okay, so that'll be the second topics of these. But yes, we'll still be talking about piracy.
All right, give me your 2 minute. Give me your 2 minute
spiel
on your Razor Kishi.
Razor Kishi is amazing. It feels like a controller, but you can use these things are amazing. These phones these days, they have the brightest screens. It's in HD, crystal clear. All the emulation on it, all the pirating on it is crystal clear, and it's so easy.
Had to slip that in there, didn't you?
All right, what's your 2 minutes on that?
My 2 minutes is, I realized how awesome this is when I was sitting in my car waiting for my son a couple of minutes, about an hour ago, to be done with one of his classes, and I'm just sitting in my car playing jet grind radio, and being able to actually, I mean, just this thing, it's like a switch. It's like it turned my phone into a mini switch. So this is awesome.
We all have to break because Pete is going to be on with Rich, but I do want to say, Goat Force, I agree with you. It's nice to see two adults that can differ in opinion, and this is what we wanted to do on all sorts of topics. Now, we're going to limit it mostly to games because, heaven forbid, in this day and age, you can't talk about politics or religion. But this is the way we would approach everything because we're friends. We love each other. We're brothers, and we don't need to win an argument. We just need to state our opinions and let you all state your opinions. That's what it's all about.
That is it. And it amazes me that more people can't do that.
Oh my God. I don't understand it. It's so natural for me. I mean, that's what my family did all the time. That's all we did. Arguing wasn't fighting. It was just presenting your side of the story, I don't know.
I know. But
yes,
again,
I use it with Game Pass. I use it with Game Pass.
As do I, and it works really nicely.
It works a lot better. I used to have the GeForce Now, whatever their system was. I couldn't play on that, and I also tried the Amazon, and I couldn't play that. But Xbox, I can actually stream. All the other systems, I can't. So they're not for me.
And I didn't have to spend the extra $20 on the Xbox version. The regular $79 version of this Qeorge works just great.
Yeah, this I have the regular one as well. All right, it's time to go because Pete and Rich are going to blow your mind with what they have.
Yeah, because Pete's got some big news that you probably all heard
Jeff,
yesterday.
The buttons are correct.
Yes, they are.
The buttons are correct on that one.
So let's wrap it up.
All right, bye.
I kind of like this format. We'll use this format. I'll make some modifications. Maybe get my friend Jay to see if I can get him to do some more like M
All
squared
I want is the thumbnail to be a different color because I always think that it's your Thursday.
I'll work on that. Work on that. I've been a little bit busy with Purim stuff for the synagogue and
I know you were
videos.
doing a whole play. That's amazing.
So I'm the video editor. Everybody's singing stuff, sending. So you see those videos on YouTube where the band is all playing and they all put it together. I'm doing that for us, and so it's been taking the kind of the lion's share of my time. I haven't got much gaming in this week because of it. So. All right, so we'll have topics to go with next month because I do want to next month when we get back together. I want to talk about this thing with you and Microsoft Studios because I know you've got a proverbial burr up your butt about this, and I want to dig into this. I want to play Dr. Mike, and I want to dig into this with you. So that's going to be
ticked off at Phil right now. I am so ticked off at him.
I don't know why.
Well, that's a tease. That's a
tease for next month's M Squared.
Next month.
So everybody head over to OEB Pete's channel. He's about to start the Evercast with brother Retro Rich Hayward. And don't forget, by the way, later tomorrow we have Amico All Access at 4 o'clock.
Oh my God! Big topic.
Big stuff going on. And then at 8. Yep, and then at 9 o'clock Sunday night is TXR, one of the best Xbox podcasts out there. And then Monday, our brand new Gamers United Guild member, the Multiverse show, comes on. Tuesday, we've got Retro Renegades, which is one of the funniest and best adult podcasts you can find in the guild. Wednesday is Midweek Gaming with Stubz. Sunday also is Stubz Gaming, his weekly show, the Stubzcast, where he has a content creator on. And then we'll be back with the NLG show Thursday night. Mike, always a pleasure, brother.
It's a pleasure to talk to you anytime.
Anytime. And don't forget, you can see Mr. Garvey every Friday night with OEB Pete on PM in the PM at 8 o'clock. And that's always a great time. Great topics, great talk. Just like here. I love it. So, all right, guys. Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. Go check out the Evercast, and we'll see you soon.